Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about character archetypes. First, I'd like us to find our way over to this week's folder and then today's lesson, Thursday, October 8th, archetypes. So just like how books often refer to other texts or stories refer to other texts or forms of media, characters can do so also just by fulfilling what are called archetypes, standardized models for characters such as the hero, the villain, the sidekick, etc. Today you're going to learn that readers are on the hunt for characters that fall into archetypal patterns as they read to see how these patterns are either predictable or break the mold. I'd like you to take a look at this website here that I linked. So the word archetype has a combined meaning of original pattern of which all other similar persons, objects, or concepts are derived, copied, modeled, or emulated. This kind of goes back to some psychological study by Carl Jung. You'll probably read about him in high school and college. But they are, I think this sentence here, they are fundamental human motifs of our experiences. So a person, for example, or a character is a hero because they have certain traits. A person is an anti-hero, again, because they have certain traits, certain motivations, certain experiences, certain desires. So one thing you want to remember is that not all characters are absolute in regards to their archetype. Some characters may be a hodgepodge of archetypes, some may be lightly one archetype. There's no character that is absolutely just one type of character. So the first one here is the innocent. The innocent character wants to do right no matter what. They are led by faith and optimism. They can sometimes be called a utopian, traditionalist. They might be called naive, mystic, saint, romantic, or a dreamer. There's the orphan, or the regular guy or a gal. This is somebody who wants to belong. They want to connect to others, but they often lose themselves in that effort. The hero. This is your protagonist more often than not. So the hero, they are sometimes called the warrior, the crusader, rescuer, superhero, the soldier, dragon slayer, the winner, and the team player. They want to be as strong as competent as possible. Often, though, they are, they don't like being called a chicken. Think of Marty McFly in Back to the Future. The caregiver. This is a character who often associates themselves with the hero. They're somebody who kind of gives them the emotional support that they need. So in the Hunger Games, I'm thinking about like Katniss's sister. Right? She's kind of a caregiver. Although Katniss joined the Hunger Games to protect her sister, you'll find throughout the series that her sister does a lot really to protect her. There's the explorer, who they want to be as present in the world as possible. But they can kind of be led astray by wandering and by becoming a misfit. The rebel. Think of Casey Jones from the Ninja Turtles. The rebel is a character who often does the right thing, but for the wrong reasons. They're always ready to fight, usually on the right side, but can sometimes go to the dark side if tempted enough with money or personal gain. There's the lover. This one is kind of similar to the innocent, but they don't want to be alone. They are led entirely by love. And that's kind of their downfall as well sometimes. A good example of this is in the play Romeo and Juliet, Mercutio. The creator. Think of Donatello from the Ninja Turtles. He is always creating. He's like the tech guy. So think about a character in your book or a story that you've read where somebody's real techy or real creative. Usually, again, these characters, the majority of them help the hero in some way. So this is the character that maybe creates the tools that the hero can use. The jester is one of my favorite archetypes because The jester is the one that nobody takes seriously, but is the wisest of all the characters. They make jokes. They're funny. They're often poor. They're a fool or a trickster, practical joker. But they do provide comic relief, but they are smarter than everybody else usually. The sage. Again, this one is similar to the innocent, but a lot wiser. They believe that the truth will set you free. Also might be called the expert, scholar, detective, advisor, thinker, and more aptly, mentor. If we think about Star Wars, we have a couple mentors. We have Obi-Wan, and then we have Yoda. Yoda, however, is sometimes kind of similar to a jester because he kind of plays a lot of tricks, if you watch the series. The magician makes things happen. They have a fundamental understanding of the laws of the universe, or they want to have that understanding. They can be manipulative, but they're very clever, right? They might be called the visionary, catalyst, inventor, charismatic leader, shaman, healer, medicine man. And the ruler. Power isn't everything, it's the only thing. The ruler isn't too often an archetype that I see a lot. There's somebody who is interested only in power. Nothing else is important, and because of that, they're often not too important to the story because they're so distracted by other things. A ruler that I could think of might be Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. He is purely political. Not the most interesting archetype there is. Now, like I said, these aren't the only archetypes. There are others that you might come across. For example, not on this list are the sidekick, who are characters that usually stand by the hero. And then then there's the villain, who kind of just is led by darkness or evil. Think of Darth Vader, right? And then the villain's sidekicks are often called lackeys. They are usually not very bright. They're flat characters. They exist only to get hurt, sometimes to provide comic relief. But they often do not accomplish their goals, whereas sidekicks really do. Sidekicks make the hero sometimes. All right. So what I'd like you to do today as you are reading, compose a response that details how a character in your book or one of the short stories I posted fulfills an archetype other than the hero. The reason why I say other than the hero is because the hero is usually the protagonist, the main character of your story. I want you to look to other characters to find more nuanced archetypes. All right. So again, you're either working with the short stories in the short story folder, or you're working with your independent book. Either way, this is something that you will find in every text mostly. All right. You might not find one in The Mask of the Red Death because the character development in that story is so minimal, as the plot is very minimal as well. But anything that has a moving plot with moving characters, you can find archetypes.